factory. It's where they actually make the crumble cookies. An elite group of experts, podcasters, and Bobby Witt Jr.
He's not on the committee.
Fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all of sports. It's an honor, it's a privilege. It's a little bit sad as it's the last time we're gonna see the Lakers on this episode of Tears.
Rarely do we have an introduction with that many fact errors. First of all, everybody knows crumble cookies are fresh made in store. That's why they're delicious. They wouldn't be made in a factory.
My fault.
Secondly, Bobby Witt Jr. is not on the committee and was unavailable last night because he was too busy
0 for 2.
beating the Tampa Bay Rays as the Royals. Don't let them get hot now.
But the Lakers
Boys in
part was
blue.
correct?
The Lakers part yet to be seen. Listen. Round 1 will be over the next time we have Tears. So the next time we have Tears, there's only 8 teams left. As of now, there are only 12 teams left. Let's start at the very bottom of the Tiers. Honestly, my favorite category. Wilds was wrong.
Probably.
There's no probably.
Well, maybe.
And I don't think that Kevin Wilde's mealy-mouthed, short shrift apology yesterday of "Sorry, Brou, you were right," really did justice not to Brou or I, but to the audience.
They're not a true 7
To the
seed.
audience. Excuse me, sir.
And they're not a true 2 seed.
Yes, they are.
No, they aren't.
They didn't add an all-time playoff performer all of a sudden. It's not fair. I'm gonna say it's not fair.
Okay, KW.
Yeah, it wasn't fair.
KW. This is what I'm talking about.
If all of a sudden the Magic had Jimmy Butler, it'd be a little tougher on the Celtics. Wouldn't it?
They did that in February.
Yeah.
You act like it was last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he
and
popped
you act
out of
like
nowhere.
you didn't. It happened after you picked the Rockets to beat them.
Fair point.
You should have listened.
But more
you and Nick
importantly,
shoulda listened.
well, again, I'm Brou. Hold on. I have to say this part. I'm not underestimating how much NBA basketball you watch, Brou. However, over the course of the regular season, so many games on, we all kind of focus more on our either favorite teams or most interesting. So I assumed Wilds had watched the most Rockets of any of us, that a disproportionate amount, and he was so big on, oh, here's their defense, here's Şengün, Jalen Green's better than you think. What about all this nonsense that now I'm a fool, I pick them wrong, Warriors fans mad at me again, and we wasted the audience's time. Next, fun but fruitless. Pistons-Knicks series. It's fun. It's fruitless.
That's a good.
Whoever wins this is about to get backhanded by the Boston Celtics.
Correct.
I'm just here to tell you. I'm enjoying it. I now do hope Brou ends up being correct that it is 7. I find it interesting that the Pistons still haven't won a game in their building, like since, in playoff, they haven't won a playoff game in Detroit since Chauncey was there playing the Big 3 in Boston. And so.
What?
Wow.
Well, right, because
Really?
they won both of the 2 games they've won this series are in New York.
Yeah.
Right?
That just
Game
feels
2
like
and
a
Game
really
5.
long time ago.
Well, yeah, because they've only made the playoffs 3 times other than that, and they were 4-0 in all of them. Or 0-4, I guess. And listen, I still think the Knicks are going to win the series, but there's nothing you could have seen from this series that's going to make you feel like, okay, we're going to have a classic round 2 against Boston for either of these teams. Still underrated, even by the committee. Got to tell you.
True.
The Indiana Pacers. They know exactly who they want to be. They have the least flashy superstar adjacent guy in the league. Halliburton.
Be careful.
But he's a great.
He's flashy as a passer, so flashy is maybe the wrong word. Least talked about, like least lowest Q rating, I don't know, like whatever it is. And I like their coach. He's a champion. Siakam's been excellent. Miles Turner, who is the subject of more trade rumors than actual discussions over the last decade. They know who they are. Can they give Cleveland a series? Probably not, but that's probably why they're still underrated. Missed opportunities, the 2 LA teams. This is going to be an off-season of real, like, wake you up at night, you gotta be kidding me moments for both these teams if they can't win their respective series. For the Lakers, it's 6 or 7 different possessions at the end of game 4 that any one of them could have gone different and they win that game. And for the Clippers, it really is just, could we have just bumped Aaron Gordon? If we would have slowed him down literally by 1/100th of a second, we are up 3-1, and then
Who was there?
Tell me who was there.
Harden.
Oh, Harden. Yeah. Oh,
And I'm not even killing him for it,
I
but
didn't
he
even
was the
think.
guy
Oh,
under the basket.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
All right. Flawed champions, Nuggets and Warriors. And so here's what I mean. They are champions and they are terrifying, and you do have to give credit to what Jimmy's been in the fourth quarter, what Steph's been in 2 of the games in this series, and the pressure he puts on the defense even when he's not scoring. And obviously you saw what Jamal Murray as a number 2 option can explode for. We know how good Jokic is. But they are flawed teams. They are teams that at any given moment, at basically any lineup they have out there, has one guy that you're like, in the offseason, if we could upgrade that spot. Now, maybe it won't matter, and they're high on the tiers, but these are not perfectly constructed rosters at the moment, which is why they are where they are. Flipping the narrative. So here's what I mean. The Minnesota Timberwolves, throughout the regular season, the narrative was, wow, they were in the conference finals.
Yeah.
Went backwards. Made a trade to save money, really, if we're being, that Anthony Edwards, it looked like he was going to take the leap, and while his stats were excellent this year, my first team All-NBA, maybe, I don't know, it didn't feel like, it felt like this was a year where they were going backwards instead of forwards. Over the course of a weekend, at home in Minnesota, they might have flipped that entire narrative. Julius Randle changing his playoff narrative. Anthony Edwards trying to catapult himself higher in the superstar tiers. Was that the absolute right trade to make for them, not just financially, but also for their ability to win a championship? All of that,
They were a bad clutch team.
Bad clutch team, flipping that. Luka torturing Rudy Gobert, flipping that. All of these narratives potentially flipping in this series if they can close it out, and then in the next series, of course. I'm sorry, bro, but it's undefeated. Curse of Broussard. Man, the Cavs were flying high until they found out that this man, out of nowhere, jumped on their bandwagon. We have seen it take down big threes such as KD, Kyrie, and Harden. We have seen it, dead on arrival, Kawhi and Paul George and what they were doing with the Clippers. We have the poor Baltimore Ravens may never recover from it. The list is too long, and now poor Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley didn't ask for this, and now they are saddled with the curse of Broussard. Tatum making the leap, question mark.
Ooh, I like this one.
So, friend of the show, even though he's never been on the show, Bill Simmons, for like 3 years, has been talking about, is there another level for Tatum to get to? And loyal listeners of Bill's very popular podcast, I will speak for all of us, I've been kind of annoyed by it because it's like, no, man, like he's great. He's like the 5th or 6th best player in the league. There isn't another level. Or is there? Are we seeing it in round 1 of these playoffs? Are we going to see it over the next 6 weeks? And maybe was Bill right? If he is, and if there is, they'll win the championship. They might be able to win it even if he doesn't get even better, but if he continues on this trajectory. And then last but not least, atop the tiers, wire to wire. Question mark. They started out 7-0. They have been in first place in the Western Conference, in the league really, every single day of the NBA season. They started off their playoffs with a 50-point win, and they are undefeated this postseason. And the question is, a team that has won 72 games this year and is going to have the league MVP and has had the best record in the league basically throughout. I know Cleveland was with them at some various points. Are they going to be able to go wire to wire? That, Brew, is the latest edition of the committee's tiers.
As always, for the most part, the names are good. The names of the tiers are great.
Marshall, undefeated.
I'm going all in. Cleveland, this is for you. Move them up. Move them up next to the Celtics. Right?
I mean,
they should be next. And I get that the Heat quit. They, lose by 60, but they basically lost by 60.
Yeah.
Unless you quit in a playoff game. But they made them quit.
That's a good take.
Game 2 in Cleveland, 9-point win. The Heat were there at the end. They go back to Miami thinking we got a shot. Cleveland puts the beat down on them by 37, and they force them to quit. So they forced Miami to quit. They've got everything. They got the superstar that can create offense when it's not supposed to be there. They got shooters. They can shoot with the Celtics. You want a three-point contest? We're down. Okay. All right, they can shoot with them. They got size at the rim. They defend the perimeter as well with that size. They've got depth. And I'm big on lumps.
Oh.
They have taken their lumps. Unlike the Rockets, they have taken, and even to some degree, unlike OKC, Cavs have taken their lumps. Donovan Mitchell's been there. 2 years ago, they go out in the first round.
Yeah.
Last year, they go out in the round 2. So they've had their playoff heartache. Everybody questioned, are they mentally tough enough? They're not that. They're not mentally tough enough. They've gone through that. And Nick, I'm not putting them on this level by any stretch, but it's somewhat reminiscent of the Golden State Warriors in 2015. And here's why. Hear me out.
Sorry.
Again, I said I'm not putting them on that level, but hear me out. That Warriors team, you looked at the roster and you said, they got everything. They got size and Bogut. They had David Lee. Draymond was coming off the bench. They had the 2 great shooting guards, in Steph and Clay.
They brought in Iggy.
Yeah, it was like they got everything. They're just not good enough. They're just a second-round playoff team. They'll win 50. Mm-hmm. They're just a second-round playoff team. They get a new coach, Steve Kerr. He tweaks the offense, more than tweaks it, changes the offense, and they go to a level that none of us thought they could go to, even when they got to the finals.
60-some games.
Yeah, we felt like, they're not winning the finals. They do. This team is reminiscent of that. I thought, you look at the roster, I don't know what they need, because they kind of got everything.
Yeah, I like that.
But they're just not good enough. They're 50 wins and out in the second round. Get a new coach, changes the offense, they're playing differently, and now I think they got a shot.
All right, so listen. This is what, KW?
No, I'll retort.
Oh, okay, go.
I'm obviously moving the Celtics above the Thunder, but first I'll answer to what the Cavs don't have when you match those teams up.
Yeah,
I love Donovan. My kids went to Donovan Mitchell's basketball camp,
but
he's not as good as Tatum, and he's not a top 5 player in the world, which Tatum is. So here's Tatum in the last games 3, 4, and 5. When we talk about making the leap, this is when he came back from having a hurt wrist. 36, 10 and 6, shot 47% from the field, shot 44% from 3, and he hasn't missed a free throw.
He's gotten 37 free throws in the last 3 games.
Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy. Yeah.
You sure that's just 3 games?
Yeah, that's what it says.
That is incredible.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then it's like, well, you played the Magic, you beat.
But that's a good defensive team.
Yeah.
So I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit.
I think he was more aggressive. You played the Magic, right? You win 4-1. Here's the Celtics' last 5 playoff series.
Okay.
They haven't lost 2 games. 4-1 against the Magic, 4-1 against the Mavs, 4-0 against the Pacers, 4-1 against the Cavs, 4-1 against the Heat. Just rolling. The second longest streak without being forced to a Game 6 since the Durant Warriors team. So there is a team like the Warriors, but it's the Celtics. And then finally...
And by the way, that team only made it 7 series. No, they actually, because they went 7 with it, they went 6 series as well. But go ahead, sorry, as you work.
So then it's great coaches. At some point, Joe Mazzulla, who does give amazing quotes, we're going to have to start talking about, is he not only a good coach, is he not only a great coach?
What do we, hold on.
What?
Hold on. It's not like Mazzulla doesn't get credit. He's
one of the great coaches in the league.
Yeah, everybody says that.
For how many years does he have to be a great coach until he's...
To be what?
To be what?
You start having Hall of Fame conversations.
I think that you go back to back.
You start having greatest coaches of all time.
Okay, so that's where I wanted to go.
Yeah, I'm saying we're looking at. We're just Phil Jackson, huh?
Phil Jackson has.
Slow down.
Was that 11 championships, Brou?
Yeah, I would not.
It's a lot.
I'm not
11.
putting with Phil Jackson, right?
It's 11.
Kerr, right?
Michael Jordan on the team.
Not for 5 of them.
Yeah, Kobe on the team.
Yeah, but you guys have Jason Tatum, where you're putting in that tier.
Nah.
No,
I'm just saying the Joe Mazzulla pom-poms, I'm going to start getting ready to wave aggressively.
Okay, so I understand that. Here is your only problem, in my opinion, because I agree with you that Boston's the best team in the East. It contradicts, my opinion, so many of your beliefs that the team's regular season must be how we judge them based on what they're going to be for the postseason. That has been your belief the entire.
Was it a 2 seed, you mean?
But because Cleveland was better than them, no matter how you slice it in the regular season. And all regular season, we were told by you that the record matters, the net rating matters, all of that matters, and
But now it's playoff time.
I know that it's playoff time, but when we were looking ahead to that, you were telling us that this is the standard that we have to judge them by. And your Donovan argument, I feel like, is the argument you didn't like when we were making about Tatum a year ago, which was, listen, he's great, but is he, best player on a champion level great, which you were saying it was unfair to Tatum, and you were right about, but doesn't all that apply to Donovan? And doesn't the stats being depressed, but because he's sacrificing for the winning, apply to Donovan?
Yeah, they're very good. I like the Cavs. They're just not as good as the Celtics.
Based on, but I'm just trying to get
2
you
and
somewhere.
2 in the regular season.
Based on
the
what?
whole season, and we can pull out like Drew was missing one of those games, Porzingis was
I hear
missing,
you.
but then the Cavs had somebody missing.
Yeah.
The whole season
it's
trying to
not
match
what
up.
it
There's
used to
so
be.
many
That's hard.
substitutions. I almost throw it out the window.
But I do throw in, because look, Boston obviously is great, and I think that'll be a tall task. I think Cleveland can do it, but it's going to be tough for them to beat them. But I'm looking at something like Drew right now has the hamstring. Brown, where's
He's
the
fine.
knee at? Okay.
He's fine.
Tatum had the wrist. He's obviously gotten past that. But I'm just saying they've been a little banged up.
So, yeah, listen, I agree with you. I just think you pick and choose when eye test and gut is going to be persuasive.
That is the key to eye test and gut. Here's the other thing. They're the champs.
Yeah, but we haven't had a repeat champ in.
We're due.
We just did a whole segment about the AFC
Or is this
champs,
the
and all you did was
decade of
make fun of
parity?
them.
No, we're due.
Well, we getting a new champion every year, it seems.
I mean, we could if the Thunder win this year, your
Thunder,
Rockets with Giannis next year,
Cavs,
Wemby the year after.
I don't know if Giannis goes to Houston and Şengün goes to the Bucks.
What? They're not your
I
Rockets?
kind of rock with Şengün.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take the.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.